Oh, hello. Hello. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and these amazing people have agreed to come and play a game with me today. And as always, that makes me very happy. Now, before we get going too far, it's been a while. I think it was last year before since I ran a game, so it has been a while. But we are here now, we are ready to go, and this game is going to be a lot of fun. We played Rapscallions last year. We're going to play it again because we played it in kind of a way last year that was more about the sexy and less about the rules. It was a lot of fun, and we had a very good time. And I got to put Martel Perel to bed in a fine and wondrously piratical manner. So life was good. But now we're going to take a little more serious twist to this game. This was actually going to run at the same time as the other Rapscallions game in my head originally. I wanted to do one funny one and one serious one, but time didn't work out that way, so now we're going to do the serious one. But let's talk about the people that came here to join us to play today. Because I'm going to introduce you first because you've been the longest since you were here. I think the last time we had you here with us, Deku, you were playing in Sherwood, right?
Yep.
With
I
with the
believe that was
wonderful
around
cars.
September,
Oh my
September
goodness!
23.
Holy cow! So almost a year and a half, or a year and a quarter. Anyway, that's too long. We'll have to get you back before that. But for now, we got you back here. What, if any,
Uh,
projects are you part of when you're not here?
uh, I was in a D&D game, but that one came to its conclusion
Oh, nice.
uh around October. But that wasn't streamed, so I've been in between games for a few months. I'm
Oh
jonesing
no.
just a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna get you started here in a couple minutes. In fact, I'm gonna hurry through the rest of your introduction so you don't have to wait anymore. But thank you for joining us as always. It's been a long time, so you get the speech again. Thank you for being brave enough to say yes to streaming online. It's in front of people. It can be scary, and I appreciate that. And thank you for facing up to those nervousnesses and coming and playing with us.
Thank you.
Next, we see you. You used to be here on Fridays when I used to be here on Fridays. Janet, thank you for joining us tonight. You have your own Twitch channel and hits the button, posts it there.
Yes.
Yeah, Anim Gems.
Hi. Hi. Hello.
What was the latest thing you posted up there? I saw it today. Something about The Sims.
Yeah, it was presentation of The Sims for occasion of anniversary, but that lately I'm only streaming presentation and showcases, but I planning games playing on
Yep.
streams very soon,
Oh, nice.
and maybe videos making too
Mm-hmm.
soon.
And in the slightly longer term, we've got some plans for you running games and being in other games too. So
Yeah.
we'll get you there. We will. I want you in the big chair. I want everybody who wants to run a game gets to run a game eventually when they're ready. But speaking of running games for us, you do this already for us on Sundays. Uh, you asked if you thought there would be any interest in a very serious game on Dirty 20 Gaming, and I said, "Oh, I think so." And now you've got the biggest game on the channel. So, see
More
also,
chaos.
yes, thank you for that. And yeah, you got all the Chaos Gremlins in that one too. So, tell us a little bit how that's going for you.
The Chaos Gremlins are my people. So,
Yes.
hello, I'm Siosa. I'm delighted to be a player tonight. I normally suffer the curse of the forever GM, so I especially enjoying this. I run Shadow of the Walk Term on Sundays, a 7th First Edition Let's Play, and you can find me. You can't find me on social media, but you can find me on the Dirty 20 Discord and here on Sundays.
Thank you. Speaking of that Discord, let me do the thing.
Well, if you link it, then they can find me.
There you go. There is the link. So anybody that's in chat, check that out. There you go. Come and join us. It's an incredibly supportive and wonderful place, and we'd love to meet you. So that's the people. Let's do the thing. The game we're playing tonight is Rapscallion. I am using the quick start guide because even though someone was nice enough to give me the full manual, I've not yet read it. So we're going to continue to work tonight on the quick start guide and take it from there. In fact, probably at least one of you, probably two of you, know the rules better than I do. So let's do this. Our background art tonight was We got that from Pixabay. The Hero Forge did our character art. We used them, and they are getting so the fun you can have. You can disappear in Hero Forge now. It is you've always been able to, but they literally add stuff every week, and it is just a wonderful place to go and play. But Hero Forge, the map, once we get to it, is provided with services which I purchased from a company called Epic Isometric, and we're going to see some isometric maps tonight. Other than that, let's do the thing. So, what is it that makes somebody a pirate? Well, it used to be simple. Before the plague, you sailed, you stole, you took what you wanted, and you followed only your own self-imposed rules. But then people started dying on mainland, the only big island. The stories say it started in the only city of Arthursinia, and it spread quickly. They died in their dozens, and then in their hundreds. And that is when they started coming back. There's no one left on mainland now, no one alive, that is, but it's crawling with shufflers and bolters. The shufflers are easy enough to avoid. Like the name implies, they are slow. You can literally walk away from them, which is good, because if one gets a hold of you, it can tear you apart. The bolters, they are an entirely different story. They're not smart exactly, but they actively and passively hunt. They'll lie in ambush forever. They attack from hides. They can sprint at superhuman speeds for short bursts. And it's even rumored that they can open doors and operate simple tools. Not like they need them. They're wiry and springy in the extreme, and their main attack is called the Python. They just wrap themselves around you and squeeze. Generally, it'll take at least 2 humans to pull one off, while it tries to bite anyone in reach except for the grappled victim. There's rumors of other nasties inland, but you're never going to go there, so they'll stay rumors for now. As far as why you're here, the answer is real simple. The archipelagos are all picked clean. There's almost no easy food left. It's been 30 years after all. But here you are, on the coast of mainland. You're not the first ones here. Other people have gone before you. That's how you know what you know. But you can see on the coast just ahead of you, in this bay that no one's ever been in before. There's plenty of vegetables growing wild in an overgrown garden. There's rewilded orchards and vineyards. You can even see a bit of a surviving fruit patch. There's also the remains of a town. Now, it's been a long, hot summer. Think southern Italy, like that kind of heat. It's been brutal. And you've been eating a lot of fish and some early harvested leafy vegetables. But now it's finally time. The air is cooling, the days are shortening, and finally the fruit is ready to harvest, so it's worth taking the risk. In fact, you could smell the apples from the ship when the wind blows off the shore. This is, as I said, a new bay. Nobody's been here before. So you don't know exactly what to expect. There'll be shufflers, there always are. Probably a bolter or 2. But you're ready for that. It's the surprises that'll get you. Surprises here are almost always bad. As you get closer and look over the bow of the boat, you can see the shufflers moving in the town square. There's only about half a dozen of them. And usually, you've been told, they don't move unless they sense movement. It's vibration or sound or something. They don't know. But normally they don't move unless they're wound up. But you can see them there now. There's 4 of them on the beach. And 2 of them further back into the town as I switch you guys to the map. The 2 that are in the town are over in the far corner. At what you've seen now when you look is used to be a fish market. It's all fallen to pieces now, but there's 2 zombies over there, 2 shufflers, and then 4 more right where you kind of want to land. It's a very rocky beach. Beach is the right word, it isn't, but it's a very rocky shoreline, and in fact, it's been eaten away and eroded a lot by the sea. That erosion has gone almost all the way up to the gates. In fact, caused a small portion of the fence around the remains of this village to fall over. But you can see the shufflers moving around. And as you sort of look around and automatically check each other over to make sure you've got all your gear, what do we see? Let's do the same order I did the intros in. Cassandra, what do we see when we look at her?
You see a young woman in her early 20s, uh, long black hair. Her forehead is covered by uh, her bangs. Scrawny looking thing. Looks like she doesn't get out much. And she has the complexion and posture of someone that clearly reads a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I could absolutely see that. You're probably the only person in this part of the world that doesn't have a tan, right?
Probably. And her expression is permanently. She always looks like she's worried about something, even when she's not. So.
Oh, I know that face. Yep. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, and you got every right to be worried. This is the three of yours first real road trip alone. Your first real forage trip with just the three of you and not some sort of, somebody watching over you with a lot more of experience. But Vanessa, what do we see when the camera pans over to you?
A young woman in 20s too, hooded in black clothing, kinda creepy looking, but she have expression like with anger, ready to attacks if zombies attacks,
Just
and
yeah,
and she looking around with sharp eyes.
just scanning and looking for things. Perfect. So we're
Yeah.
gonna get you to do a size up in a second, a roll in a second. But first, Anchor Zawe. Oh, I love that name. What do we see when the camera sort of pans around? First of all, it has to go up to see.
Actually, it has to go down because as they're coming in, he's underwater.
Oh,
and
okay.
he's actually clinging to like the chain beneath and kind of keeping an eye on the seafloor to make sure that there's not any like shufflers or whatnot that are underwater that could grab the boat as they come to dock.
Okay.
And when he kind of sees that it's clear that they've stayed out of the water, he starts to pull himself over the edge, and like the ship kind of tilts a little bit by virtue of his weight.
Yeah.
And there's like a creak as like driftwood and copper and this enormous automaton pulls himself up and just sort of like he dusts himself off, even though he's like just dripping water. And the driftwood that he's made of and the copper that he's made of is like it's all either rusted over or so old it doesn't like hold the water, and so he's just dripping and tracking, kind of his voice
splashing your way
booms, and he's like, looks clear.
Perfect. In that case, I need actually let's have a size up from everybody. I'm going to roll for Vanessa. You got 8.
That is plus vinegar, unless I'm mistaken.
Yes, it is. Yep. So the way this I should mention the mechanics. 2d6 plus the appropriate stat. Your stats are blood, vinegar, polish, and spitfire. Blood is your sort of vigorousness. Vinegar is your brains, polish is your ability to chat, and spitfire is your magic. So, oh my goodness, that's an 11 and a wow. So a 12 and an 11 and a 10, the three of you rolled.
Mine is an 11 because I've got a -1 on vinegar.
Okay, so still. Yep. There's some specific questions, but rather than having you ask them, I'm just going to give you information. All three of you notice there's the shufflers that are moving around are moving in rhythm with the water. The sound of the water hitting the beach is what's causing them to stir up. The two that are not by the water, the two that are at the back, have actually been wound up by the wind blowing some flaps of cloth. So that's the one thing you notice. The second thing you know, this would also be sizing up, but this is under the heading "Where is the true danger lurking?" They don't get this wound up by themselves. Something has happened here very recently, which has got the shufflers wound up. And then
They're
the
on
third,
high alert because of something happening.
yeah, something happened just recently. And the third thing, and this is for the two of you that got the 11. So, Cassandra, you notice that Anchor and Vanessa, you notice off to the side in the vineyard and the orchards, there's like a strip of dead trees that runs through the orchard. But to get to land, you've got a couple choices. You can land right in the easy spot right in front of the gates, but that's where there's 4 shufflers right now. Or you could try and put the shore further down the beach and walk in. I said it in that way because you're pirates. You live on a boat. Like even your houses float. Dry land and being away from your boat is like being away from your house.
Not to mention land legs are a thing, and we have
Yes,
to
they
find
certainly
them.
are. Yep.
What if we distract zombies with some noise and then go into gate?
That's an exceptionally good idea. Yep.
So
I definitely would rather have us anchored at the dock rather than running to a ship in the distance.
Yep.
There is trouble.
Mm-hmm.
on the map, there's this bridge thing. Is that the dock?
Oh, that is where you're coming in is actually right at the bottom, where I've got your figures down in the bottom left corner. That you see up there is the dock, but thank you for mentioning it because I forgot, that is the dock in the river, because a river joins the ocean here. And this little village was right at the junction of the river and the ocean. So yes, that top left-hand corner, that little bridge is a pier that goes out into the river.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys are landing down here.
Okay. The
Well, I like the
strip
double
of
ping now.
the strip of dead trees.
Yep.
I'm assuming it goes this way.
The dead trees are sort of over here.
Okay.
There's actually 3 of them. This big area down here, this is the vineyard. So
Okay.
so there's grapes there. This is all apples, this orchard, and then there's these trees in the middle of the orchard that are dead.
And we can't see much more than this from the ship.
No, that's about it.
Okay.
So I have a very specific question, which is that, so the minister by something that's happened recently. Anchor is looking to the fruits and everything to look and see, the zombies would have no reason to pick them.
Yes.
So presumably there would have been generations that would have died on the vine.
Yeah.
But if it looks like any of them have recently been picked, then that might mean that there's been another party that's come through trying to do what we're doing.
Absolutely. And we're going to go with that great size up roll that you had before because I like the question and I want it to succeed. Yes.
I have also
Yep.
question. What if that trees are because some sort monster or big animal come?
You'll have to get closer to find out that for sure. But absolutely, yes. Yeah, Siosa, I'm sorry, what was it Anchor had just said?
He was looking specifically to the fruits of the trees to see if
Yes,
anything had been
they
picked,
have,
or if it all looked like it was rotten on the ground beneath
yeah,
it.
it has actually been, you see, there's a couple of the prime trees, the ones closest, not the ones closest to town, the ones furthest away from town appear to have been picked. Not a lot, but... And actually, because you rolled almost as well as you can, so I'm going to give you the max. It's a 10
I did
plus,
roll as well as I can.
Yeah, you did. You're 10 plus it. So, it's almost hard to tell because not a lot has been taken. Therefore, this wasn't a foraging. Somebody hasn't like come in with boxes and taken the fruit and gone, right? This is a couple dozen, maybe 100 apples. You can see somebody's been taking care of a little corner of the vineyard. There's sort of 3 or 4 vines that are pulled free of the garbage and the waste that develops around them.
So somebody's here caretaking.
Which would be truly spectacularly bizarre. Everybody's supposed to be dead.
Yeah. Anchor is like kind of leaning against the edge of the ship, and he says, "There's a survivor on the island, maybe more than one."
How?
And I guess they don't welcome us with food and flowers.
You certainly don't see anybody right now. Vanessa, you had said you had the idea of making noise to distract the zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you want to do that? I like this idea.
Maybe something throw far away, and zombies will go to noise, and we will come and grab fruit.
Yeah, Cassandra?
Could Anchor go to that, like walk along the bottom of the water and go underneath that pier and kind of like make some noise underneath it, like knock on the bottom?
That would certainly work, yeah.
Anchor, if asked, he says, I could probably pull some into the water too.
And Vanessa, you've got a gun, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you could easily fire off one round to like shoot something off in that same sort of general direction. Yeah.
Doesn't she have a silencer on it?
I remember that.
You can unscrew it.
I remember.
Actually, no, that works. Sorry, sorry to interrupt.
I remember that I have fireballs.
Yes, you have that too. That's also what I was thinking. Cassandra, you have your book, right? So you could also.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to damage the supplies, though.
Yep. Well, see, I love this because right away we've got our difference, right? Like Vanessa's like, kill them all. Cassandra's like, yeah, don't wreck the house. Anchor's like, I got this.
we don't have on ship some heavy, noisy stuff. Like,
for
example,
chains, ropes, all kinds of goodies. Yeah, you can make all kinds of
I mean like pots or cannibal.
Oh yeah, pots and pans, anything like that. But either way, I like the anchor. The anchor, you said you kind of just headed off to go underneath that pier over there, right?
But we don't have zombies on ship because they come under your ship, and we will dealing with zombies instead go for fruit.
Yeah, well, let's just brainstorm for a little while here, because as Anchor mentioned earlier, zombies don't swim. They sink and they walk on the bottom. So if you were to make a bunch of noise on the ship, this is just playing with Vanessa's idea, and they start to come towards you, they're just going to wade out into the ocean and sink. So then you could get on your boat and just go to shore, literally over top of them.
But what if a zombie come on another zombie,
but once
like
you're
pyramid?
Yeah, once you're landed, you won't have any problem with the shufflers because they're super slow. Like I said, you can literally walk away from them. So unless you go into the house and stay there for 10 minutes, they're not going to catch you. If and when you come up against a bolter, that'll be different. But we'll get to that. I guarantee it. But yes, this was like the first encounter that I had planned was, how do you guys get in here? Do you kill them? Because I mean, let's be fair, you could just stand on the ship and fire at them with ranged weapons, right? I mean,
for me, it is waste of bullets because when we shooting them, more come.
Potentially, yeah, the noise could attract more. Absolutely.
So better distract us and grab fruit.
Okay, perfect.
So Anchor is gonna he's gonna do we have any kind of like long? He's basically looking for like a very simple like spear.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep. A
Like two or
spar or
three like
something.
javelins kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, um,
For anchor, that's like as a couple of spare spars from the ship, like not the
yeah,
main cross pieces, but the bits that go on the end. Yeah.
yeah. He's gonna take them and like tuck them under his arm, knowing that they might get him a little bit more flotation-y, but not quite. Um, and then he's gonna
I
because
get the
he also
picture
uses
with water wings. Like what?
down,
Like inner
down.
tubes.
It's the
Sorry, this is
closest he comes to
serious.
floating.
Yeah.
So he's gonna take the chain that the anchor normally ties off to.
Yeah.
He's gonna go down. He's gonna find he just drops and loops in, and he finds like a largest rock that he can lift under and like tuck the chain. So if they needed to, they could yank it out and go, but it'll protect them from just drifting off.
Yes. Okay.
And then he starts the walk around.
Yeah.
And kind of under the assumption that they'll know when he's there because stuff will start happening and they can
Around
make
the
do.
corner and start walking up the river. It's pushing against you. You know, the ocean, it's nice and neutral, but the river's actually pushing.
Yeah.
On the bright side, whereas no, on the dark side, you're less buoyant when you get into the river because it's not salt water. But so you get underneath the pier. It's one of the very few stone structures in this town, and because of that, it's still here. It's more or less intact.
And so his plan at that point is he's going to kind of go up to the side of the stone bridge and he's going to pull himself out with one arm.
Yeah.
He's going to just kind of let the spars float nearby.
Yeah.
And then he's just going to like bang the anchor on the stone bridge like a dinner bell.
Oh yes, absolutely. Easy, no roll necessary. These two that are quite close start heading over in this direction. Again, they get to the end of the bridge and they start kind of because they can't see any. They can hear you, but they can't see you. So they're kind of be flustered. But these four down here, seeing the reaction of or reacting to the reaction of the others, it's like sheep in reverse. It's like if like a predatory animal as a flock, like something triggered over here, so they all trigger and start heading in that direction.
So
Yeah.
his plan is to stay underwater. He's holding one of the spars. He's letting the other two float above him, but within like arm's reach.
Yeah.
And the moment he sees a zombie like peeking over, his plan is to impale it.
Okay.
And then toss it further into the water so that it won't sink. It will stay on top, thrashing and making noise and drawing others.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you want to basically impale one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that.
And then turn it into a zombie bait.
Perfect. So I'm gonna get. I want to find out what the other two want to do while you're doing that. But your role is going to be weird as this is. You're going to be getting into a scrap. Right?
So blood.
Yeah, roll plus blood. The other two, you are waiting for the things to happen. You hear the banging and crashing. You see the zombies turn and start to head out of this little town off towards the pier. What do you do? The crew has put a boat down the side for you, like a small boat. Yeah.
I'm looking for a way to go on the land,
Yep.
because I'm not sure if ships stop. So I'm looking for a way to just go there.
Yep.
And I don't know how far away from ship is land.
It's not that far. So, but they've got the crew has put down a small boat for you, like a rowboat for the two of you, and you can jump in, and in fact, they'll row you to shore.
Yeah, I'm going to this one.
And Cassandra?
And I'm also thinking why I don't hear a new voice in my head.
Ah, you haven't yet. That is absolutely correct. And yeah, not yet. Cassandra, what are you doing?
I'm also going ashore.
Okay.
Someone has to watch Vanessa's back.
Yep. So you guys step up onto the shingle, onto the rocks. You look across, and just at that point, you see a spar come jutting out from beside the pier. Go ahead and give me a get into a scrap roll.
I got a 7 with my blood.
Okay. So you succeed. You get him up on the stick, but there's a price to pay. And that price is he's wiggling and jiggling, and the other ones are absolutely totally fixated on him. But he's wiggling and jiggling. He's kind of starting to work his way down the pole towards you.
Yeah, and he's gonna just sort of like heft and hurl him out as far as he can. He figures the river's going downstream, so it'll carry him.
Yep.
But that, he's even all right if the zombie gets a little bit of a whiff of like there's a thing to eat, because it's gonna excite him and make more noise and hopefully draw the other zombies' attention as well. But it will be away from his friends, which is the important part.
Yeah. Yes. So you fling that first one. So that one's gone. It hits the water. The pole sinks. The out of the four that are remaining, three of them just follow the noise, follow the noise, follow it, and they just. It's like watching the ducks at the end of the duck chute. They just get to the end, just walk off the end of the pier, and just bloop, bloop, bloop. There's just no comprehension. Just one after another after another. You watch them walk, fall past, just splash, 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 and they just go numb. They sink to the bottom, and because they're no longer stimulated, they just kind of get washed out to sea. But there are still two left in town. But these two are now sort of at the base of the bridge. Cassandra and Vanessa, you see that. Directly ahead of you is the town itself. There's a couple of houses. There's the fish market. There's there's a lumber mill over here. There's the remains of a fish market here. There's houses across the back, and then the vineyards and the orchard. Where would you like to go?
I would go and pick up apples
Okay.
first.
Yeah.
Maybe inspect the trees in close up.
Cassandra?
Yeah, I think Anchor's got this, so the primary mission is food.
This way as well. All right. Perfect. As you walk past the the vineyard, you now notice what Anchor noticed before: is that someone has been coming here and picking and choosing, just like a bunch of grapes here, a bunch of grapes there. They've cleaned up around a couple of plants. They've got rid of the mess, the detritus that falls around the base of the plants. But again, it's not. Nobody foraged here. They didn't come and get, like, you guys have got bags, right? You're getting ready to get bags of apples and bags of grapes and try and find some, a dozen or 2 dozen melons, big amounts of food. This isn't that. But I would also like both of you to roll a size up for me. I'm going to roll yours, Vanessa. 7.
Plus vinegar again, right?
Yep.
How much I have?
You got a 7. So you have one question that you can ask. And what I'm going to give you with that is your spidey senses are tingling. Something's not right. You're not the only thing here looking for a fight, Vanessa. You can feel it. Something's watching you. Cassandra, what was your role?
I will look around if someone is
Okay.
in shadow.
Absolutely. Cassandra, I see you rolled a 4.
Yep, I'm not paying attention.
That's all right. So the way that works, you failed. So first thing is you get an experience point. Every time you fail, you roll a 6 or less, you get an experience point in this game. But all that means is that you don't get that same tingle, that same sensation. But as you look at Vanessa, you're sort of, like you said, you're sort of in protection mode anyway. So you watch Vanessa as they go into that hunter mode, and they just start scanning. Vanessa, you see it just before it moves. You see an arm sticking out of a pile of branches, and then it just sort of explodes towards you. The branches fly in all directions, and you've seen them at a distance, but boy, oh boy, they're a lot scarier close up. A bolter just comes blasting out of the shrubbery directly at you.
I will try dodge it and run chase this thing.
Okay, so we're gonna do.
And if I can't, I will try while running to throw a fireball.
you want to try to break away from them and fire and burn them. As you successfully sort of get away almost, and it reaches out and just grabs your ankle. So no damage yet. But then at that moment, you hear in your head, "Why don't you just kill it?"
I will say to myself, brilliant idea, and do this.
And with that, yeah, you rolled even with -2 blood. You still rolled a 10 because you rolled a 12. So at that, with that moment, you sort of pick up your other foot and bring it down and just crunch the skull that's coming out of the pile of branches at you, and you hear the under your foot, and the whole thing just spasms and stops. It's only at that point, Cassandra, that you realize anything has happened. Meanwhile, back on the bridge, Anchor.
So, seeing where they are on the bridge and that it's a pier that leads up to the water, Anchor is pulling himself up onto the end of the river pier,
Yeah,
and he just kind of silently like taps the anchor on the end of the pier,
yeah,
to draw them closer.
yeah.
And he's going to Toro them into the water or just pick them up and hurl them if they're moving slow enough.
Absolutely, yep. Two at once or one at a time?
He's going to go both at once. He's separated from his peeps, and he
Yep.
can't protect them when he's separated.
I
so
figured, yeah, it's time. So yeah, give me a get into a scrap. So roll blood.
So a 9 for me.
A 9, that is sufficient. You get two options. So you can strike them and deal harm, wrestle something away from them, force them into a precarious position, or frighten them.
I also have I do 2 harm close because of my fisticuffs.
Right. Yep.
So
in that case, yeah, you did. Yeah, you wanted to do 2. So yeah, the first one you just sort of crush, like you out python the python, right? You just sort of, and then the other ones are at the same time you just grab with your hand and just throw off the end of the pier into the water.
yeah, I think he's kind of like used to them swinging or biting, and he's just like, yeah, I'm not chewy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Which is a thing. These zombies do not turn you into zombies when you're bit, and they do not eat you. They just kill you. As soon as you stop moving, they lose interest.
Do they use their mouth as a weapon?
Yes.
That was more.
Yeah, they do bite. Yeah. But with that, so you just, and you're now standing dripping wet on the pier looking into the all but empty town. On the other side of the fence, there's no way you could see that from there, I don't think. Vanessa and Cassandra, the dead bolter lies at your feet. It was a little one. You can see that now. The other ones, the bigger ones that you've been told about, will be more of a fight than that. But this is the tutorial level. So
Shame we don't fight rats as tutorial. You know that games.
I thought about putting rats in the basement and the bar in this little town, and I thought, no, this isn't D&D. I'm allowed to break that trope. But level 1 zombies are pretty much the rats in the basement of this world. So. But the two of you find yourselves in the orchard. I don't know if you've been in a real orchard. I live right in orchard country. The amount of waste fruit on the ground is truly spectacular. In a proper apple orchard, there is a layer of apples that have fallen off the trees before they got to all the way ripe. It is pungent. It smells like apple juice and apple cider because some of it's been there for a while and it gets kind of fermented. You can hear. You guys live on a boat, right? You know, you're used to creak, creak, creak. This is the wind through leaves. This is grass under your feet. And yes, you have land legs, so you're kind of whoop, 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 as you're walking around. Before we go too much further, what is that like? I want to start with our bookworm, the one who is least likely to have touched grass ever, Cassandra. What's it like standing in an orchard, just overwhelmed by smells and sunlight and dead zombie? But never mind. Just don't look down, right? What are your thoughts?
Like, it's one thing to see it in an illustration from the old world from before. And to see it with my own eyes, it's almost too much.
Yep.
It kind of hurts to like extend your senses out beyond a
Yes.
certain point.
Yep.
So after taking it in for maybe 3 seconds, she just kind of scrunches back in and gets back to work.
I was just gonna say, start picking fruit almost in self-defense. Like, just look right here, just look right in front of me, just look right in front of me. Put the apples in the bag. Put the apples in the bag. That sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe occasionally look around to see if there's more zombies coming, but other than that,
Fair.
just focus on the fruit. Focus on the job.
Vanessa.
My character will be bruised out and stand up after this fight, and and she will take apples and don't care what is happening,
Yeah.
and she just want as fast as she can because too sweet smell for her.
It's too sweet. Oh, I love this. Oh, they're so dark. They don't even like sweet smells. Yeah, and you're just back to work. It's like, yeah, if I trained all this stuff for that, like these zombies are wimps, right? This is easy. And so the two of you start picking fruit. Anchor.
And
Oh,
also,
yeah.
and
Cassandra?
also,
Yeah. Oh,
I
Vanessa,
will,
yeah.
and also I will scream to Anchor, come on, help us pick up this stuff as you finish fight.
You guys need somebody to get the stuff at the top of the tree. Anchor, you are in an interesting position right at the moment because you can't see your friends. You can hear them yelling that it's time to go to work. The zombies are in the creek behind you or washing away in the river. You're looking into this town, the remains of this town, and it's completely empty. It's fallen apart. You can see there's the remains of a well that's kind of collapsed in on itself. There's a couple of completely collapsed buildings, one of which looks like it probably used to be a stable. This long one, sort of not really a stable, but just sort of like a horse park, like a car park, but just for it's just a center post and then a ceiling. There's no walls, just like a
Yeah.
bar. Yeah, that's what it used to be, and it's fallen apart. But a lot of you look around and again, it doesn't make sense with what you saw in the orchard with the selective picking. Nobody's been here. This place hasn't been looted yet.
He's kind of, so he's assuming that whoever it is small and quiet.
Yeah.
Because they would have to be to survive here for a length of time. And so he's kind of putting himself in the position, you know what I'm saying? He like looks at, there's like a little woodpecker that's like come to land on his shoulder now that he's no longer on like the bottom of the ocean. He's like, what do you think, Voltaire? And he gets like tapped for his efforts because but it does put him in the mindset of kind of like looking at like the different buildings and trying to see if like there's something that's like small enough that somebody might have been able to live there and go unnoticed and stuff like that. That looks like it hasn't collapsed enough that there'd be no way to get in or out. He's looking for a rat hole and a rat hiding.
Bolt holes. Gotcha. Yeah, give me a size up roll then, I think.
There's one other thing he's doing as he does that. Like everybody else, the common wisdom is be quiet, don't attract the zombies. Yeah. He wants to be the target.
Yes.
So as he's going, he's dragging the anchor, so it like across the stone.
Yeah.
And he's whistling as he goes. But it's also so that the others know where he is and that he's kind of on the way. But if there's somebody that's human, they're going to recognize that's the noise that zombies don't make.
Absolutely. So, one of my favorite things ever in every zombie game ever. Never stop singing. Because zombies don't sing. So yes, you step into town, making all that noise, making that look. So was it 8? Was your
no, that was my last.
That was
I haven't rolled yet.
So yeah, give
us
a
size up.
Size up. Yeah, a suspicious.
That's a 10 with my -1.
10. All right. So that gives you. Let's follow the rules. You have 2. So you hold 2. So you can ask me 2 of those questions. You have the list up, or just 2 questions that you'd like to know. I mean, you asked them before, right? Looking for a bolt hole for where somebody would be hiding.
Yes, that's the first thing. Yeah. And the second thing I think is just going to be, is there something here that will make a difference in the quality of the crew's lives on the ship?
Yes. Okay. Answer to the first question: there's lots of places where somebody could be hidden away here, but there's no sign that anybody is. The dust is not disturbed. There's no sort of nicely built windows or doors or archways where somebody could have accessed the building. But there's lots of houses that are not pillaged and are just sort of generally falling down because they've been up for 30 years.
Okay.
And the second one?
The second one is there anything that he can see that would make a substantive difference in the quality of his crew's life?
One of the little houses along the back here, this one here, has clearly used to be have a little storefront in the front, and you can see even from here pots and pans and other things that, while themselves might not be useful, might at least tell you that there's something useful in that house. That was this one here.
Yeah, he'll call out like, "Are you safe?" to the other two.
I will
We're
scream, of course.
we're okay.
This is our weaklings, those here. And I will still collecting apples.
And what did Cassandra say?
Sort of meekly. We're okay.
At that, as you say that, Cassandra and Vanessa, you kind of turn and say that and then turn back, and you can see. As the two of you step around the corner of this row of trees and sort of start to get to the next tree in line, you see in the distance that row of dead trees and a tent and what used to be a campfire.
I'll Vanessa will go and check out this campfire if it is still warm and tent.
Yeah. And Cassandra?
Encore?
Hey, we go.
All right.
Vanessa's just like, hey, look,
Tony's
trouble.
like, okay, we can get pots leader. You know.
Perfect.
But-
So yeah, you start to head. There's a gap in the fence, sort of right there. You can head in that direction. Vanessa,
Since one of his powers is the Juggernaut, and it's like actually all about getting to people quickly.
Yeah.
Can I just have like he just casually has the strength to just kind of vault it when it's not urgent?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep, not a problem. There was a little section there that was just sort of a wooden fence, but if you want to, I mean, you got Juggernaut.
I think he's got. I think he's got like enough bad history getting stuck in spaces that if he can, he's
make a door. Yeah, I love it. Okay, and I think I can actually.
If since we're outside of combat, if you'll let me do it without expending a bond, I'd prefer that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely.
It's more like cinematic flair.
There you go. So yeah, I'm going to have you go through the wall, and we just made the wall disappear. So yeah, there was a perfectly good little fence you could have stepped over, but you just went no door. And as you slam through that wall, and I mean it's 30-year-old field boundary wall, right? It wasn't difficult. It's well within your range. You smash through that, sparks flying off your anchor as you do so, and you look over and you see about a third of the way into this orchard. You see Cassandra sort of standing there with a very full bag of apples. They've been very studious and a good picker. All the apples are good color. Things are good. But they're about halfway between you and you can see them going like this, right? I'm assuming Cassandra is like looking at Anchor, looking at Vanessa, looking at Anchor, looking at Vanessa.
I'm kind of pointing at Vanessa in the campfire.
She's being crazy again. And you see Vanessa step into that campsite. Vanessa, you put your hand down near the fire. It's cold. But you guys know that this part of the world, it rained 2 or 3 days ago, and this fire has no record of that. There's no spatter marks in it. So this fire was burning within the last 3 days, but not today because it's cold. As you look around, you can start to see there's a fair amount of stuff here. First things first, there was more than one person here. Second things second, there were people here, real human people, that there's not supposed to be any of. And until whatever happened to them now, they were doing okay.
This should not be here. Why is this here?
I guess the ground doesn't turn you into a zombie.
Vanessa will not talk, and we check out if there's some sort notes, diary on books, and check out if there's footsteps.
Yep, perfect. So, give me a size up then. We're going to be doing a lot of sizing up in this because this is what happens at the start of a mystery. You gather evidence.
Oh,
Again.
Anchor and Cassandra, what are you guys doing?
I'm also trying to investigate things, but I don't think I did well.
No,
I got a number. I got another 4.
another 4. All right,
So,
so yeah.
Another experience point, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, you get another point. So yeah, you're going to be going up a level very, very soon. Here, it only takes something 6 to go up the first level.
I think Cassandra is just freaked out by being on ground.
Outside, off the ship, Vanessa's being crazy. Anchor's being crazy. Nope, we're just supposed to be getting apples and getting out of here. What are you guys doing? Right? I mean, I get it.
Why is there evidence of people?
Yes.
Why?
And then people. Yeah. Now ethics kicks in. Right. I can almost hear Cassandra thinking back to all the books on ethics and morality that they've read. Right. And how they have to. Something's got to be done. But yeah, bookworm, goblin, and truck. Yeah.
How much? How much at all?
You got a 7 as well. So I'm gonna fudge the rules a little bit. What did you get, Anchor? Or have you rolled yet? So, what the two of you, even the two that didn't, well, even
I think Anchor's just standing guard over the two of them.
That makes sense. Cassandra, even looking around, you can see a couple of things. First of all, these were definitely landlubbers. Right? These are not people from another ship. You can tell from the gear. A lot of the gear is metal and it's not rusted. A lot of the wood wouldn't last 20 minutes on a ship. These people lived here. This isn't it's not shipwreck. There's weapons
this is
left.
making less and less sense.
There's weapons scattered around. And in fact, as you get closer, Vanessa, there was a fight here. Like a fighty fight, and people, there's a bit of blood, not much, but it looks for all the world, because you did get a reasonable roll. This wasn't shufflers, and it wasn't bolters. Neither one of them worked like this.
People fighting people, or things people fighting something we haven't seen?
Something that you haven't seen. Oh, sorry, Vanessa. Yeah.
Vanessa, we want follow blood trail or
well, yeah, I'm just going to give you the rest of the information first. It wasn't shufflers, it wasn't bolters. Anchor, you asked the next question. It was not humans. You can tell that. It's a new kind of zombie. You can tell that because they took the people. They didn't kill them. They took them. You can see drag marks leading away towards the river. There's almost no blood. And as you really take a look and look closer, you see the footprints of the attackers. There's one place where it's sort of stuck in the mud. It looks like a human footprint, like a zombie footprint, except there's claws. One off the front of each of the toes, and then a big, like a dew claw on a dog, or like a rooster's claw on the back that's sunk into the earth. And I love this. Cassandra, by accident, you kind of step back a little bit because you're a little bit overwhelmed, and you hear a crunch under your foot, and you look down and you've stepped on a compass.
May I inspect this compass?
You can, and you don't even need to roll, because when you pick it up, the needle just kind of spins. It's been demagnetized. This compass doesn't work.
Vanessa will say, do you really need keep this trinket and make more weight to ship?
Vanessa, it's a compass. It weighs hardly anything. Besides, if we can get it remagnetized, we can barter this for some supplies. And she'll just kind of put it in her personal pack.
Yeah.
So
Vanessa. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you just pop that aside.
Vanessa is not sure what to do
Yeah.
because she feel like this animal, a zombie, went far away and she can't find it. So she continue to pack food.
Okay. You did see the drag marks that lead towards the river. So.
Still she
You just go
continue.
back to work. Yeah, absolutely. So, in that case, Cassandra and Anchor, what are your thoughts on this?
Um, if there's any kind of, was there anything amongst the supplies that looked like scrolls, books, anything like that?
Um, you find um, a couple of notes. Actually, they look like they've been torn out of a notebook, and they've got one common theme.
I read at an ABC children's level, so he's
Oh.
just handing them to Cassandra.
Okay, so you have Cassandra reads. Yeah, Cassandra, you've got
Yes,
yeah.
this notebook should not Vanessa notice because I was looking for notes or diary
Yeah.
intent.
And you guys can find it. You know, either one or both of you can find it at the same time. Actually, these pages have been ripped out of a like it looks like out of a diary, and they've all got a common theme that the zombies didn't just happen; somebody made them. At the bottom of the one page, it says, "And that which is made can be unmade."
Vanessa still continue up picking because she can't do anything about this information.
Yep.
I mean, Cassandra will keep the notes, but she's kind of huffing because another theory.
Yep.
Like all her life, people have been coming up with reasons and methods as to how these zombies come to be, but there's like never any proof. This is just another one.
And you realize at that moment, because you are a researcher, you are the first person that has first-hand evidence and a chance to gather more about what really happened.
That is true, though. Maybe we could start to find out. This is all internal. The gears are starting to turn.
Yep. Has anybody told Anchor what the notes say?
Yeah, Cassandra would have read it aloud.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and when he sees Cassandra go into like the thinking mode, he just is kind of like, okay, just like picks her up and like puts her on his shoulder, and then he starts doing like the gathering of stuff, like letting her do the processing and the thinking thing. And he's gonna take the tent and everything in it and just wrap it in one go.
Yep.
And he's gonna head over to where like the trees and the vineyards are. He's not interested in fruits.
Yep.
He's interested in like plants he can graft, like things that he can add to the garden they already have on the ship. So if he can take like a smaller apple tree, like and pull it out completely and get enough dirt to like pack it, if he can get like living grapevines that they could potentially grow, like the food that they have is great. It's going to get them through a season or two, but being able to grow more and share it with other ships is even more valuable.
Absolutely. Yep. I love this idea. So yes, you can take graphs and all that stuff. I mean, this is a vaguely magical world, so we won't have to worry too much about, grafting and such things. But
Vanessa don't care about handmade zombies because there's two problems. First, ethic, because we killed so many zombies for these years, and now those zombies could be humans. And second problem, how we logistical do this, because this world is ruin. So she don't want go to this rabbit hole, and she
Yep.
don't care.
It's too much. Yeah, I absolutely get that. That makes perfect sense.
Um, Anchor is definitely thinking about it. He kind of to Cassandra and says, I think they would have been researchers, right? They came here with supplies. They weren't from this town. He says they had an idea, and this island was the place they came to look into it.
Well, if they're researchers, they're not from our island, that's for sure. None of them would bother to think like this.
None of them would have camped on shore. This is the one thing I want to. I'm just going to quickly interrupt again because these are not seagoing people. Right? They're not camped right by the water.
Right.
They don't use knots correctly. Like there's 1,000 hints that these people do not live the way you live. They are dry land livers, and this is the only large
Well,
island that any of you know about. I love the silence of characters and players thinking.
Vanessa is still don't care and
Nope.
taking stuff
Yep.
because she nothing change this.
Okay, this is bugging me. How can people live here? There's not supposed to be survivors from the plague. Or whatever makes zombies.
But even if there's living people, how we find them? I feel like totally we don't find them. So better just pick up food and back to ship.
You're about 2 days behind. If you were going to chase them down, just for Cassandra and Anchor, if you were considering that.
Anchor's definitely thinking about it. They were dragged off, but it looks like they were still alive at the time that they were dragged.
And if you take a couple minutes to look, they were dragged from here all the way along the north side of the city over to the river. And then the drag marks just turn and head up the riverbank. And you can just see there these clear clawed footprints and the drag marks of 3 people being dragged. And it looks like there's probably 6 to 8 of the whatever the hell they are that are doing this.
Okay,
Cassandra will want to take one last look at the clawed footprints.
Yep. There's still a whole
And
town you
sort
guys
of
haven't looked at too. So just as a
Yeah,
reminder.
that's kind of where Anchor's migrating
Thinking
towards.
of going next. Yeah. So yes, looking at the clawed footprints.
do they resemble any creature that she would have read about?
This is very smart. Roll plus vinegar for me. Because it's your brains basically that you're using.
One.
11.
11.
That is you saved this. You saved the maximum for this. So, what it looks like for all the world, it looks like somebody mixed a human or zombie with a demon, as you've read about them in the books, all hooks and claws and red scales and fangs and evilness. You know they exist because, you know, you've known people that have been possessed by them.
Vanessa is thinking, why you so quiet today? To herself, she asking.
Good question, Vanessa. You don't hear your demon. I was almost said afraid. That's not quite the right word, but worried. You hear the voice. Oh, I don't like it. I think I can smell them. There's a bunch of them right near here.
And she asked in her mind where they are.
They're up the river. They've done this. It's like some sick, and this is a demon talking. This is like some sick version of what I did to you.
And she thinking, interesting. But she don't care more because she think like we can't chase them.
But I want to know. I want to know how they do it. And Vanessa, for the
But
first time in this game, we're going to use a compulsion. Your demon is trying to force you to go upriver and find out what's going on. So you have a choice. You can go along and gain 3 luck that you use for special abilities later on, or special things that you can do. Or you try and resist.
she don't like it, but she go on because she feel like Cassandra and Anchor want to know too.
Okay. So you use the 2 of them as a sort of, well, I guess if they're going, and you agree to go along. And your demon says to you, there may be times when I am forced to be quiet, because when I can hear them, they can hear me too.
Wait, what? She think.
You're going to meet some people very much like me. Except they won't be in your head. They'll be at the end of your arms trying to rip out your throat.
Okay. And she quiet.
You know you want to fight.
Yeah.
I just had to offer the right bait. All right, so you're convinced. Cassandra, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, demons are a problem because they can interfere with future supply runs. So maybe
Yeah.
after we get what we can here, after that we go look for demons upriver.
And who knows? Maybe rescue the last humans on the planet, other than yourselves.
Maybe.
I love pirates. I just love pirates. What's in it for me? Anchor, you've sort of opened your mouth to.
He's he's kind of letting them come to their own choices. He, as Cassandra is thinking about it, he says the storm you don't see coming is the most dangerous one. Whatever they know, it's more than we do.
And with that, what would you like to do next?
Obviously, we're raiding the kitchen.
So yes, are you heading into town then to have
Yeah.
a poke around? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take a moment here to be very proud of myself out loud. I used Hero Forge to make the little isometric images of you guys.
That's very
so
awesome.
they're actually 3D images.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's cool.
And I just used the default, if you saw the zombies, in other words, as a sort of an idea of what angle to shoot them at. So, but yeah, here, let me zoom in so that other people can see. Yeah, those are actual Hero Forge minis standing in the middle of that town. So, with that, you step back into the town, and I mean, again, the first thing that strikes you is it's not been pillaged, it's not been looted, it's not been touched. The zombies that were wandering around were just wandering around. You see, because everywhere there was people, there's now bodies. Said these zombies don't eat the humans when they kill them. But most of these bodies have been here for 30 years. So they're skeletal to say the least. Seawater's really hard on bones. It's also really hard on stone, wood, and cloth, and damn near everything else. This little village is beat to hell. What used to be big canopies over very fancy market areas are now just shapeless, colorless rags blowing in the wind. Nothing is still intact. Every door is cracked and doesn't fit in its frame. Every window frame is cracked. The shutters don't close anymore. But it's all still mostly intact. So what do you do?
Vanessa will be first, looking if there's some sort shrine or lift around amulets or artifacts.
Okay.
Anchor's just grabbing cooking supplies.
Okay.
Like
Perfect.
whether it's like new pot, I mean, to them it's new
Yeah.
pots and
So
pans.
you're going to the pots and pans place. Vanessa, you're looking for that. And Cassandra, what are you looking for? Or are you just poking around?
There's probably not a lot of hope for any notes or anything, records from like shops and things, or maybe whatever mayor.
That's the sort of thing you're looking for. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just go around the sort of the town here. The lumber mill itself, as you poke in there, it used to be a lumber mill. It's rotted away. There was, it looks like they were interrupted sort of mid shift almost. There's logs that are there that are half cut, but they've been there for 30 years, half cut. The fish plant, very similar. It's been there so long it doesn't even stink like fish anymore. It's been 30 years. The houses themselves are the interesting bits. Because when you open them, you see things like little flower pots, vases, art on the wall it was painted because it's paintings, but it's 30 years old. It's faded and curled. There's in one house there's a flower that was in a vase that has just been it's 100% desiccated and dry, but it's just sitting there on the table. There's lots of pots and pans. There's lots of tools. This was a whole town. But there's also some other stuff. In the wreckage of the stable, you find you were looking for notes and papers. Cassandra, you find a leather bound little volume that is it's actually a ledger of sales and purchases and invoices and stuff. It mentions this place here, and it mentions the actual city itself of Anthracia. And at that place, it says that there they are breeding horses of the greatest stature. There's also, and I'll have this for you next week because I just realized now I didn't get it done. A map of the island.
Ooh.
It's a roughly circular island. It's a volcano in the center of it, and it shows a number of rivers coming out, including the one that you're on, a number of the remains of other towns and villages, and then in the center, right at the bottom of the volcano, there's the symbol for the capital city. Somebody has scrawled on it here and there. This is not part of the original lettering, but things like "Here there be demons," "My worst nightmares live in this forest," things like that.
Oh,
There's
very
also
useful.
there's also more of the paperwork that you found. You said you were looking for the mayor's place. They didn't really have a mayor. They've got a reeve, which is kind of the same thing. But the notes in their place, you found the diary that the other pages were ripped out of, and as you scan through it, you speed read because you do. You can watch the level of. I mean, it's either paranoia or coming to terms with the truth. You can find the moment that the first zombies arrived in this town and started eating people or killing people on the borders of this town, how they fought them off, but how they kept coming and coming and coming, how autopsies of them had shown that they had been humans, but they'd been poisoned. They shouldn't be alive. Their guts are being eaten alive by acids and other chemicals. The two things that you find out that are new is the bodies of the dead zombies, all of them, are magnetic. The other thing you find out is that, in the opinion of the reeve of this city, and it goes along with what you found earlier, this was caused. Somebody did this. Making a zombie is not a spontaneous thing that happens in nature. Somebody is taking humans and turning them into zombies. And the way it's phrased, it's continuing to happen at that time. So 30 years ago, it was continuing to happen. It wasn't over yet. There were still people.
Hmm. So when you mean dead zombies, you mean zombies we take down are magnetic.
Yes. Also, as far as he knows, the ones that are still standing are magnetic as well. And the idea is that some part of the process of creating them magnetizes them.
Hmm. That demagnetized compass comes to mind.
Hmm. You pull it out of your pocket and look again. The damage to that compass is more than what you did by stepping on it. It had been stepped on once before. And you can see, when you really look, the corner of one of those claws stepped on it. So whatever these new zombies are also magnetic.
And they're smart enough to try and get rid of their tracking device.
These new ones are something special. They're capable of planning. They're capable of following through on a plan. They're capable of fighting with an idea in mind. They took hostages. They did a lot of things that regular zombies don't do. There's something going on around here beyond there's people, beyond there's zombies. There's now some kind of new zombies. There's demons somewhere involved in all of this. And everything and anything is up that river. But so are potentially the only other humans on this planet.
Whatever is happening, it's dangerous.
Speaking of dangerous.
Vanessa, anything found?
Yes.
Because other people finding
Oh, yes.
and she was looking.
Yep. I found, I got the, at the top of this page. We got the two things left, the two things that Vanessa found as you're looking around. As you look into one house, it used to be a store. They had the storefront, and they lived behind it. And as you sort of look into the back, you see a big metal safe sitting on the ground. It's old tech, like it's not 30 years old. This is from before times. This is tech nobody understands, except it's a safe, but it's a big metal box with a spinny wheel on the front. And leaning against it is a blunderbuss, a big rifle, like a shotgun, sort of the rifle that goes like that at the front and shoots a bunch of stuff like a small cannon. It's a spectacularly fancy version. It's got gold filigree and copper wiring, and the little pan is all hand carved to look like the hand of an angel, and the little hammer that comes down looks like God's finger. It's a spectacular piece of work. It's also got a bore about that big. This thing is going to do huge damage.
Vanessa is shouting to save because she don't know how to different open this.
The safe itself, if you go over and sort of pull on the handle, it's not locked. And as you pull it open, it's empty inside. But it's also very fancy. So, for what it's worth, the safe is also a treasure. The safe itself, but it would take at least anchor to get it sort of into a boat and back to your ship.
And yes, Anchor, come for a moment.
Yeah, Anchor comes over. Has Cassandra asked to be dismounted from the shoulder, or is she happy to be up there?
Oh, I had presumed that they had come down when you got to town because they had gone off to look for notes and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He comes around to where the safe is, and
Would you help me bring this to the ship?
why don't you go over to the pier and signal to the ship to come around and park there?
Easily done.
The crew should be able to get it up the river.
Okay.
So,
And then he
Can I
just
go?
goes and starts to heft. So.
What are you doing? I am being powerful. I lift a thing. So, you finish scanning the town itself. That's all that you find that's of any value.
Vanessa will be joking like I'm so glad we don't find some canned food with expired date.
30 years and still nobody's taken the canned peas. Nobody's that hungry. All right. So, with that, yeah, you start to, you've scanned the rest of the village. They bring the ship just up the river to the pier. You load the safe and your other goodies onto the ship. The crew, if they were dogs, they'd be doing a heckin' concern. They are not happy at all about going up the river. That, like, the freedom of the open ocean compared to we're gonna have to row and we're gonna have to use winches and it's gonna be a lot of hard work because getting a ship. At least you don't have to. At least you don't have a big ship. At least it's only the Epoire. I wrote it down. The
Oh, we
Espoir.
got the
Yeah.
sturdy one.
Yeah, you got the but it's I mean it's a good sized boat, but it's not the big monster boat that was the other option, right?
No, I think we went with the sturdy one because
You
it's
got
got the garden,
the
and
biggest of
paddle
it, but
wheels.
it's I'm just gonna stop because it was what I meant to say. It was the ramshackle boat,
Yes.
and in my head that made it lighter and smaller than a full blown warship. Either way, it's going to be a lot of work, and it's the crew that's going to be doing it. And you guys haven't got a navigator, so it's going to be really challenging. But they were sent to follow instructions. They're good sailors. They're good pirates. As long as they get standard rules, as long as they get to loot, they're good to go. Speaking of which, they look at the three of you and say, their spokesperson says, "So are you guys done in that town?
Yeah,
So
Yes,
you don't
have at
mind
it.
if we go have a look?"
Have
And you
at
see
it.
like the
Okay.
crew
Perfect.
standing there with empty
Okay.
bags and
I would say, okay, but we don't protect you.
It should be safe. We cleared out the dangers.
We saw you flinging them that what the oh man. Oh, and then they were just very impressed with the anchors flinging them around.
And he kind of points out to the one that's still in the water, and he says, "That one is Bob."
Trying to swim with the spike all the way through him.
Vanessa will be cleaning her shoes.
So after a brief loot, the crew comes back. They've grabbed a bunch more fruit and food, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna be back in a couple days. We'll get it on the way out." And they load up They come onto the ship and they wine. They've been eating grapes and apples, so there's like fruit juice everywhere and running down their shirts. But they've got that sort of high of the first time they've had vitamin C in a while. They weren't quite having scurvy, but this is as healthy as they've eaten in any of you have eaten in months, right? It's been mostly fish and dried veg because it's summer and it's hot. But finally, it's time. So as you
Anchor
turn,
is definitely he knows which of those lackeys is like the one that's going to be like got the moonshine tub somewhere
oh yeah,
and is going to be distilling the fermented one. He's just keeping an eye, like, please don't make half the crew go blind. But
yeah, you can tell
it.
You can tell it's him because he doesn't give a shit if the grapes he's bringing on board get beat up or not. He's just like dragging the bags on the ground. He doesn't care. The rest of them like, oh my grapes. Anyway, use the buddy system.
I hope also Vanessa took this fancy gun.
Oh yes, yeah. I presumed that you guys took the gun, the blunderbuss. So I'll add that to your sheet because you're the one that can already shoot. So, but anybody can shoot in this game. But so they come back on the ship, and it's getting towards the end of the day. But the crew looks up and says, their spokesperson says, "I'd really place a little creepy. Can we just go up? I mean, ultimately, I'd like to go back out in the ocean, but can we at least go up the river a little bit? You know how superstitious crews are."
I think we're safer sleeping on the ship and not being near land during the night.
Yeah. Cut to the middle of the river, anchor there.
Yeah.
That way we'll and keep a watch on both sides of the river all night.
Vanessa's like, I will sleep in my room, close to shrine on ship, and don't care because she prefer her bed.
And the camera, as the sun goes down, the ship goes out into the middle of the river and sits, it drops an anchor and just sort of sits there. It's a completely different feeling being on a ship in a river than being on a ship in the ocean. So it's like the third different way, like the third time today you've had to learn to walk, kind of. It's a little weird, the sound of the river running past the boat, the smells of all this greenery. And I want to make this very clear, it is fall in the equivalent of Italy. It is lush. Everything is green. The leaves come right down to the side of the river and get, that thing where they sit on top of the water and kind of move back and forth. You can't quite tell where the sides of the river are. This, it's beautiful. It's, you can see wild berries and all that kind of stuff. This place is, it's a utopia.
I hope not a lot insects and mosquitoes.
Interesting point. There are no biting bugs left because there's nothing left for them to feed on.
Not even animals?
There are no animals.
Phew,
No birds. You didn't notice before, really, because you're sea folk, right? It's, you're used to a
Oh,
different set of sounds.
yeah, but seagulls would definitely be like an early indicator
Oh
of
yeah,
islands. So if they disappeared, that would get noticed.
yeah. There were seabirds around the island, but none. Since you've landed, there's no critters.
And we're used to seeing seagulls and animals on other islands, even
Oh
for
yeah,
half
even
summits,
on the
right?
archipelagos and anywhere else. Yeah.
Okay.
If you look, there's
Hmm.
crustaceans, but they're stupid. Right? They haven't left. But yes,
Not
with
even rabbits, huh?
not yet. Nope. But as the sun starts to set, the camera does that thing where it swoops around and heads up the river. And a ways up the river, it sort of scans to the side, and you see the shapes. There's 9 of them. They're too tall. They're too angular. They've got too many joints. They got 2 or 3 elbows, 2 or 3 knees, claws, spikes, everything you'd imagined in a demon form. But clearly they used to be human. And each pair of them is dragging a human. Or sorry, 3 pairs of them are dragging 3 humans. 2 men and a woman. They appear to be unconscious but unhurt. They're tied up, so these things can tie knots. And they're being dragged up the riverbank. Just before the camera pulls away, they stop. One of them goes into the bushes and comes back with like a whole blueberry bush and puts it down in front of the humans. The humans wake up a little bit, get their hands, which are tied, like sort of out from behind them. You know how you can scooch them under your butt and out under your legs, and are sitting there eating the blueberries off the bush. So they're being fed. They're allowed to go down to the river and drink. And then the camera pans back very quickly to you guys. Thus ends the prologue, but not our show today. Because the next morning, the crew is not happy about it, but they are your crew. They are prepared to head inland at the soonest, as soon as you're ready to go. And once you do start to move, trees come in, and it's like you're going up a tunnel. And this is a broad river, but the canopy is so developed and so strong and so overhung that it blocks the light even. You keep moving up this green tunnel into this verdant land. You can smell all the plants. And then you come around a corner in the river, and ahead of you, you see a structure. It goes all the way across the river. It's like a weir. It allows water through, but it's like a mesh made of branches and vines and things like that. It really looks like wicker. Like it's that sort of open. And as you get a little bit closer, you can see as the river comes through it, it's sort of the river roils, and in that roiling, you can see a couple of zombies just sort of spinning around. And as you watch at the shore, one of them crawls out of the water up onto land and then just wanders away. So it appears that what this is essentially a zombie catching device across the river. So any zombies that have fallen in above here will get caught in the weir and climb out.
So why would someone make a trap to keep the zombies on the island?
Vanessa will be asking, I wonder why anybody want catch zombies. I would understand this trap close to town, but this looks like someone studying these zombies.
On shore, right near one end, not the end that the zombies are climbing out of, but on the other side of the river, in an area where there's a rock wall so they couldn't climb out on this side, someone has built like a little, almost like a lean-to. It's not even a proper shelter, but it's a human-built lean-to over there.
Who's gonna go check out this building? And Vanessa points.
Anchor
Cassandra
kind of
would.
starts to climb up the side of the boat.
Yep. So I'm going to allow you guys to pull the boat up close because I want to give you this information, and then this is where I'm going to give you the information, lay the base work, and then we are going to close tonight. But as the boat pulls closer, you can see a couple of things. This weir was built some time ago, and it's looking the worse for wear. Nobody's maintaining it, so at some point it was built reasonably well, but since then nobody's done any maintenance on it at all. The other thing you see when you get close to that little lean-to, inside it there's a small table that's been made of just knocking a couple of pieces of driftwood together. It's just a flat surface. And just off one side of that table on the ground, there's a little pile of very fine sand. There's also signs of one human here. There's one sort of little bit of leftover food. There's some feces in the corner. These are not the people you're looking for, but there was only one person here.
I wonder what he was doing.
That's your thoughts. Cassandra, what are your thoughts on that?
So the net thing is older than this lean-to.
Good question. No, they're the same age. It looks like the lean-to, whoever built this, whatever built this. You asked the question the right way. I'm going to give it to you. The zombies built this.
What?
Somebody who was living in that little lean-to knows how to control the zombies.
What?
And that, what, is where we are going to drop the curtain on tonight, even though it's early. I want to give you guys a week to think about this. Plus, I had very, I'm not sick. I'm just not well. So we're going to call it a little short tonight, but we got a whole lot done tonight. So thank you all. Thank you, starting with the players. Thank all three of you for joining this game. The first session of a mystery is always a little what. So hopefully we got that hook planted, and hopefully we will get on the way to solving this mystery next week. But thank you very much to Siosa, Anchor, the just the indomitable one, right? Just the force of nature. I will go. I will go where it is dangerous. I will walk through the fire for you. I love it. The true thoughtless hero, but not thoughtless in a negative way. Just that there's no thought of not doing it. Right? You have to be the hero. I love it. Uh, Cassandra. If ever there was a person that should not have been on this trip, it's Cassandra, and that's perfect. You're afraid. You're such a. I take the again. This is a compliment, but Cassandra is a real human, right? They're afraid of things. They don't like zombies. They don't like mysteries. They don't like not knowing, and they'd really rather be at home in the library. But people need them, so it's that totally different kind of hero than Anchor, and I appreciate that very, very much. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to Cassandra when we really push them. So
I'm interested too.
yeah, we'll find that out together. Uh, and Vanessa is cold. Vanessa's the pirate, right? Of all of these, Vanessa is the pirate's pirate. They care nothing but themselves, get the job done. The self-preservation sort of secondhand. I got this. I'm not worried about this. They're convinced they can deal with anything that they come up with. So what's going to be interesting for me for Vanessa is putting them in a situation where they can't win. And then I want to see how they come out of
Yeah.
that. So, but we got time for that. But thank you all for that. Thank you for chat. Vanessa is the Idicus, kind of. But thank you to chat for popping in tonight. I know it's the middle of the afternoon on a Friday. There's lots of other things you could be doing. I appreciate you doing this. If you're watching on the VOD or on YouTube, thank you. If you're watching on YouTube in particular, hit the buttony things down at the bottom. They're free, and it really makes a difference. And if you really, really want to make a difference, do what Deku does to almost every show we ever had, ever. Definitely watched more of these than I have. Leave a comment. YouTube loves a comment, and we would appreciate it. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you'd like to do with this story. If you've got ideas, pop them into YouTube, and I'll do my best to get them into the story if it works.
Or just use emojis. Please
Just use
come for me.
emojis.
I'm
Just
so
dump them in
lonely.
there. Just anything. All messages count, and I do look. And even if I don't respond to them, I look at every single one. So thank you, everybody who does that. But this brings us to the important bit, the bit at the end, the bit that matters. We sit here in front of you, friends, playing a game. That's all this really is. We share it with you because, well, I like being watched. I'll be honest, I have more fun playing if somebody's watching me, not just the players. So that's why we do this. But what it means is we get to share the joy with the world, and we get to have fun, and we get to be confused and excited and worried all together. And in a world like the one we're in, together is important. So please be as nice as you can to everybody around you. And if you've got the energy, be kind to somebody because it makes a difference. On behalf of all of us here at Dirty 20 Gaming, thank you. And until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.